Good evening, passionate listeners. Tonight, we're embarking on a sunrise hike that turns into a journey of self-discovery, as Lily and Nate navigate the blurry lines between authenticity and artifice. Ascend to new heights of passion, where the view is breathtaking and the emotions unfiltered. Chapter 5. Dawn of Doubt. The sky was just beginning to lighten as Lily and Nate set out on their hike. The air was cool and fresh, filled with the scent of damp earth and tropical flowers.
I can't believe I'm willingly up before sunrise.
Lily laughed, adjusting her backpack.
My followers would never believe it.
No avocado toast or artisanal coffee in sight. How will you survive?
Their banter flowed easily as they made their way up the trail. Lily found herself relaxing, enjoying the quiet moments between conversations as much as the playful exchanges. As they rounded a bend, the trees parted to reveal a breathtaking view of the coastline. The first rays of sunlight were just beginning to paint the sky in vibrant hues of pink and gold.
Oh, wow.
Lily breathed, instinctively reaching for her phone.
Wait,
Nate said softly, touching her arm.
just look at it for a moment, really see it.
Lily hesitated, then lowered her phone. She took a deep breath, letting the beauty of the moment wash over her. It was different. No pressure to capture the perfect shot, no mental calculations about engagement rates, just peace.
It's beautiful.
She whispered. Nate nodded, his eyes on her face rather than the view.
Yeah, it is.
Their eyes met, and for a moment, the air between them crackled with unspoken possibility. Then Nate cleared his throat, breaking the spell.
So, want me to take a photo of you here for your Instagram?
Oh, right, yes, that would be great.
Lily said, flustered. She struck a pose, but it felt forced, unnatural after the genuine moment they'd just shared. Nate frowned slightly as he raised his camera.
Maybe just be yourself, like you were a moment ago?
Lily's smile faltered.
This is myself. This is what I do, Nate.
A flicker of disappointment crossed Nate's face.
Right, of course.
As Nate snapped a few photos, an uncomfortable silence fell between them. Lily felt a knot forming in her stomach. Why did she suddenly feel like she was doing something wrong? They continued their hike, the easy banter of earlier replaced by stilted small talk. As they reached the summit, Lily's phone buzzed. A text from her manager. Great news! Luxury resort chain wants to partner for a year-long campaign. Global travel, all expenses paid. Need to know ASAP. Lily's heart raced. This was the kind of opportunity she'd been working towards for years. But as she glanced at Nate, happily snapping photos of the landscape, she felt an unexpected pang of something she couldn't quite name.
Everything okay?
Nate asked, noticing her expression.
Yeah, just work stuff.
Lily said vaguely.
What about you? Getting some good shots for your book?
Nate's face lit up.
Absolutely. This is exactly the kind of real, untouched Hawaii I want to showcase. You know, I've been thinking about extending my stay here. Really immerse myself in the culture, get to know the locals.
Oh, Lily said, surprised by the twinge of disappointment she felt.
That's great.
Yeah, I figure why rush back to the mainland, you know? There's so much here to explore, to capture authentically.
The word authentically echoed in Lily's mind. She thought of the luxury resort offer, of the carefully curated life she'd built, of the vast difference between her world and Nate's. Why did it suddenly make her feel inadequate?
Lily?
Nate's voice broke through her thoughts.
You sure you're okay?
She forced a smile.
Yeah, of course. Just thinking about work.
Nate nodded, but she could see the concern in his eyes.
Hey, want me to take a shot of you up here? Sunrise Summit selfie and all that?
Lily hesitated.
I'm sure, why not?
She moved to the edge of the lookout, trying to find her usual pose. But something felt off. She was acutely aware of Nate watching her, of how staged this must look to him.
You know what?
She said suddenly, stepping back.
Maybe not. Let's just enjoy the view.
Nate lowered his camera, surprise and something like approval flickering across his face.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Lily said, surprising herself. She turned to look out at the stunning landscape, letting herself just be in the moment. As Lily stood there, lost in the beauty of the sunrise, Nate found himself captivated by a different sight. The soft morning light bathed Lily's profile, her expression open and wonder-filled in a way he'd never seen before. Without thinking, he raised his camera. Click. The sound was soft, barely audible over the gentle island breeze, but to Nate, it felt momentous. He'd captured something rare and beautiful. Lily, completely unguarded, authentically herself. Lily, oblivious to the moment Nate had preserved, continued to gaze out at the horizon. Nate lowered his camera, a mix of emotions swirling in his chest. He felt almost guilty, as if he'd intruded on a private moment, but also exhilarated. This was the real Hawaii he'd been trying to capture, wasn't it? Real people, real moments. As the sun rose fully above the horizon, bathing the world in golden light, Nate found himself sneaking more photos of Lily, her hand absent-mindedly brushing a strand of hair from her face. The soft smile that played on her lips as a tropical bird called in the distance, the thoughtful furrow of her brow as she seemed to be lost in contemplation. Each click of his camera felt like he was collecting pieces of a puzzle, a Lily that existed beyond the carefully curated Instagram posts and sponsored content, a Lily that, he was beginning to suspect, not many people got to see. Beside him, Lily snuck a glance at Nate. The morning light softened his features, and she felt a sudden urge to reach out and touch him. The thought startled her, and she quickly looked away. What was she doing? This wasn't part of her plan. Nate was everything she wasn't. Raw, unfiltered, chasing authenticity while she chased likes and sponsorships. And yet...
We should head back.
Nate said softly, breaking the silence.
Unless you want to stay up here all day?
Lily laughed, but it sounded forced even to her own ears.
Tempting, but I've got a full day of shoots ahead of me.
Right.
Nate nodded, and was that disappointment she heard in his voice.
Back to the real world, huh?
As they began their descent, Lily's mind raced. The easy connection they'd felt earlier seemed strained now, weighed down by unspoken thoughts and conflicting desires. Her phone buzzed again in her pocket. The resort offer, waiting for an answer. A path forward, clear and defined. Everything she'd worked for. So why did it suddenly feel like she might be missing something important? As they reached the base of the trail, Nate turned to her.
Thanks for joining me this morning. It was nice.
Yeah,
Lily said softly.
it was.
For a moment, they stood there, something unspoken hanging in the air between them. Lily felt her heart racing, aware of how close they were standing, of how easy it would be to just lean in.
I should go.
She said abruptly, taking a step back.
Early meeting with my team.
Oh,
Nate said, blinking as if coming out of a daze.
right, of course. I'll, see you around.
Lily nodded, not trusting herself to speak. She turned and walked quickly towards her hotel, her mind a whirlwind of confusion. What was happening to her? This was supposed to be a simple trip. Get content, boost her following, maybe land a big sponsorship. Nate wasn't part of the plan. Nate, with his authentic moments and his judgment of her curated life. Nate, who made her question things she'd always taken for granted. Nate, who made her heart race in a way no perfectly staged photo ever had. As she reached her hotel room, Lily's phone buzzed once more. Her manager, asking for a decision on the resort offer. Lily stared at the message, her finger hovering over the screen. It was everything she'd ever wanted. Wasn't it? With a frustrated groan, she tossed the phone on the bed, leaving the message unanswered. She had a lot to think about.